So welcome to 3 minutes of Tehillim. We are up to Perek, Lamed Aleph, Psalm 31. Lamnatzeach Mizmor LaDavid, B'cha Hashem Chasisi, that in you Hashem I have taken refuge, or I trust in. Al Evoshel Olam, do not let me be ashamed, or I will not be ashamed forever. Again, like the same theme that we've been talking about with David HaMelech having enemies, asking Hashem to give him guidance, praising Hashem for allowing him to emerge from that abyss. I want to focus on one pasuk, which those who are learning Daf Yomi may have learned a few weeks ago, and they may not have remembered, or I should say myself. I marked it off. Wow, that's coming up. So I marked it off when we learned it. Pasuk Yud Tes. Pasuk Yud Tes is quoted in the Gemara in Bava Metzia, Ayin Hey Amud Beis. And let's learn the pasuk first, and then we'll look at what the Gemara has to say about it. So the pasuk is Te'olamno sifsei sheker. Let the lying lips be silent. Hadovros al tzadik asak begava uavuz, which speak falsely against the righteous one in haughtiness and scorn. It's a reference to David fleeing from Shaul and telling or asking Hashem, don't let those enemies who are speaking negatively about me to Shaul, that I'm David plotting to rebel against the king, prevent that from happening. So the Gemara in Bava Metzia Ayin Hey Amud Beis says the following: Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Kol mi sheyesh lo mos umal ve'osan shelo be'edim. If somebody lends someone else money, which is a great mitzvah, you lend someone money who needs it, great, no ribis, no interest. You lent him money, but you didn't do it with witnesses. Over mishum v'lifnei iver lo sitem mechshol. You are in violation of placing a stumbling block in front of a person, because we have an obligation not only to make sure we're doing the right thing, but also to make sure that other Jews are also not doing anything to help them sin, or even making sinning easier. Even if you're lending money to a trustworthy person, if you don't do it with witnesses or with documentation, you're putting somewhat of a stumbling block in front of that person. Not that they would ever meaningly try to deceive you, but make it easy for the person. Give documentation so that everyone understands what is their obligations and everyone is on the same page. Great advice in general, but it's also a mitzvah in the Torah. And then the Gemara says something further. Rish Lakish Omar, Gorim Klola La'atzmo. You actually hurt yourself if you lend money without witnesses. Why? Because Shneimar, and he quotes our pasuk, Ta'almana Sifsei Sheker Hadovros Al Tzadik Asa. That people will talk. What does it mean people are going to talk? They're going to say false things, because you're going to go ahead and you're going to say to the person who lent money to, hey, so-and-so, I need the money back. And the guy says, I don't know what you're talking about. And you say, well, what do you mean? I lent you the $1,000. He says, I don't remember. I don't. And he's not going to willingly try to deceive you, but people will start to see. And they're going to think that you are trying to take away money from someone who doesn't actually owe you money. So they're going to start talking about you. Oh, look at this guy. He's a swindler. He's a this. And people will talk. So we always have to have two things in mind. Number one, we have to be above reproach for what we're doing, but we also should have to be above reproach of any possible scenario where not only could we let someone else be closer or feel less compelled to be careful with them with their money, or be careful with what they're doing, we have to be above reproach also for that eventuality, even if it will never happen. We always have to be careful to make sure that anything that we are part of is completely beyond reproach, that we allow everyone to be above board, open, and transparent.